Artificial intelligence, business intelligence, data mining. These are terms which we frequently hear and are used interchangeably very often, but they do have very specific meanings that are distinct and yet overlap. This video aims to clarify what these different terms mean, how they're related to each other, and the important distinctions between them. The focus is mainly on business intelligence with data mining. So it takes a particular perspective. I'll first explain business intelligence, and then I'll show the relationship between artificial intelligence and business intelligence, and then show where data mining overlaps between these. First, business intelligence itself is difficult to define because really it's a moving target. That is, there's continuous evolution in the technologies, and I would say in general, business intelligence is a comprehensive and cohesive integrated set of tools and processes. And these tools and processes capture, collect, integrate, store, and analyze data. And what unites them or brings them together under the mantle of business intelligence is that they have the common purpose of generating and presenting information to support business decision making. We have to understand here that when I say business, I don't necessarily mean commercial enterprises. It can be any kind of organization, such as hospitals, education, government, not-for-profit organizations. Business should be understood in the sense of doing business, getting things done. So with this global view of business understanding, in this image here, you can see a few elements that describe some parts of what might be covered in business intelligence, such as operational reports, ad hoc reports, OLAP analysis, data visualizations, dashboards, and so on. And but then let's go on to have a more global view. And let's relate business intelligence to artificial intelligence, which is another similar term. So there are many ways to relate these, to talk about these, but this is perspective that I have that I hope will be useful for you to understand or put a place to all these terms that might otherwise float around. First, you can think of a dimension of computer science on one end, so really technical engineering, software programming kind of things. And on the other end, business management. Again, business in a general organizational sense, not just commercial. And on the computer science end, that's really where you have artificial intelligence. It's a much more technical, mathematical, computer programming kind of topic. And business intelligence is more on the ends of business management, so getting things done, usually in organizational contexts. So, and data mining overlaps in the middle of them. Let's try to unpack this a little bit. So, artificial intelligence, in my understanding, artificial intelligence fundamentally treats intelligent agents. That is software entities. So they could be embodied in robots, but essentially they're software entities that can act intelligently in an environment. It might just be a computer environment. And intelligence here means doing tasks that normally we would think that human beings would do. So things that previously machines could not do that require some kind of thinking, but now you have agents that can do the same tasks. I won't get into the fact the matter of do they really think or not, but they act as if they are intelligent. That's the idea of artificial intelligence. And there's many different parts of it, but a very major part of artificial intelligence is machine learning. And I'll come to that in a moment. But I want to emphasize that there's many aspects of artificial intelligence that are not machine learning. In particular, there's physical sensing, which means actually being aware of the physical environment around us. So this includes computer vision, such as facial recognition. It might include sensing of LiDAR, of infrared rays, heat, and so on. It also includes hearing of sound. So actually, in some way, being able to interpret senses or sensor information from the physical environment. So that's a huge part of AI. Another major part of AI that is not machine learning is logical deduction. And so this is very mathematical logic when you have certain information, true and false, and sequences and so on. So now let's get to machine learning because this is a term that you've probably heard about. Machine learning is generally data-driven computer learning. That's the idea that you give data to a computer. Uh, Again, in artificial intelligence, that's an intelligent agent that's trying to simulate intelligence. And the computer increasingly does new tasks and has an increasingly higher performance based on the data that is being given. So it's learning from the data to better accomplish the tasks that is being given. So there's different aspects of machine learning. One aspect that is not related to data mining, I'm really trying to define AI apart from data mining here to give a general scope, is one aspect of machine learning that is not related to data mining is called reinforcement learning. And this is a situation where you give an agent, again, an intelligent agent, some sort of information, and you give it information sequentially, like one bit of data at a time or just small bits of data at a time. And each time the agent receives the data, it reacts. And it has a task it's trying to accomplish. And when it responds to the data, if it does positively towards the task, it is given a reward, or like which should be just a pat on the back. And when it performs negatively, it does not do well on the task, is given a punishment or a penalty, which is like minus points. And so the computer learns that by acting in certain ways in response to data, it gets rewards, and it acts more in that way, and it acts less in the ways that give it punishments. And so that's called reinforcement learning. Okay, then other aspects are of machine learning, which fall under the mantle of artificial intelligence, are supervised learning, unsupervised learning, deep learning, and natural language processing. I won't go into depth in all these, but supervised learning is generally when there's a truth where that the computer is trying to determine. Unsupervised learning, the computer is trying to recognize patterns that are useful, but there's not exactly true or false. Deep learning, which implements artificial neural networks, takes very large data sets and applies what is called feature learning or representation learning to learn the features of that element and to provide answers. It could fall under supervised or unsupervised learning, though there's some distinct aspects. Natural language processing is when computers can try to read words and try to make sense of it as much as possible. So that's the general scope of artificial intelligence. Now let's come to, and these are computer science topics, and they've been developed for decades, uh, uh, um, probably close to 100 years now in the realm of computer science. Coming to the business management side, we come to business intelligence, which generally is data guided organizational decisions. You're trying to make decisions guided by data, and there's many elements of that, including data warehousing, data gathering, extraction, transformation, loading, which involves storing the data, organizing it, then dashboard reports, OLAP analysis, which has to do with analyzing and presenting the data. Uh, but then within that, there's some elements which fall under what we call data mining, which are distinct from business intelligence. And let's focus a little bit more on what is data mining. So, data mining is specifically discovering insights from large data sets. And large here, well, a formal definition before I get to what I mean by large, data mining is a process of exploration and analysis by automatic or semi automatic means of large quantities of data in order to discover meaningful patterns and rules. So you're looking at large quantities of data, and large here means we're not talking about big data. It gigabytes and terabytes of data. It can handle that, but not necessarily. We're talking about, let's say, at least 1,000 rows or lines of data, 1,000 observations or cases. It's hard to do data mining with less than that. You might get by with 500, but you need a sizable amount of data. Less than that, you're getting to statistical analysis. Like if you don't have 100 lines of data, and it's not really data mining. Then data mining, to discover these insights, you have to you have to prepare the data. There's data analytics, there's data visualizations, and these are topics which fall under business intelligence because you're trying to make organizational decisions based on that, but they're not really artificial intelligence topics. However, the discovery aspects really come from artificial intelligence. These techniques of supervised learning, unsupervised learning, deep learning, natural language processing, these are the techniques that data mining use to apply to the data that's been prepared and analyzed to discover these insights. And so data mining has technical aspects of artificial intelligence and the more business interpretation aspects of business intelligence, and it falls in between. And so our focus here is really we're more on the business management side. So we're really focusing more on interpreting our analyses for business decision making rather than getting into the computer algorithms that produce these. But our focus is on data mining. We're not looking at these other aspects of business intelligence that don't really fall under data mining. We're looking at preparing, analyzing the data, and we're looking at the AI techniques that can give those insights, but not other kind of AI techniques. So that's the focus of what we have here and what we're going to be looking at.